There we go. Record to the cloud hopefully is started. Okay, Don or Steve. Yes, take it away.
I will take it away, or bring it together, or whatever. Happy Saturday morning, afternoon. The afternoon for two of you, early morning for a bunch of you. Well, a bunch of you, Jeffrey. It's good to see your faces again. And this is session 104. When we went intermittent after 100, we've gone really intermittent, but hopefully we will keep this going, because as I recall, once I get into it, it's fun. It's party time today. Our speaker, our guest presenter, has been dancing since 1980, and I was thinking that's not long ago until I figured out that's over 40 years ago. And I remember the 80s. Some of us do. Started calling a year later. Calls anywhere from basics through C1, but also specializes in party nights. And I'm looking forward to hearing his take on this. I wish I did more party nights so that I could benefit from this. He also does little things like cueing rounds and leading line dancing. What do you call leading line dancing? Cueing it? Conducting it? Anyway. He's also a member of Call Lab, past chairman of the Call Lab's Advanced Quarterly Selection Committee. From California, let's have a welcoming hand for Steve Minkin.
Thank you.
Steve, it's all yours.
Okay, so I've been calling for clubs at least 5 nights a week since about 1983. And for about the first 2 decades of that, I also worked in the schools in Northern California, regularly teaching dancing to children, which is an important part of the program and a significant part of what I bring to the party dances also. So 4 basic parts to what I'm doing. First, the general one-night stand of group dances. My program is a little bit different, and my selection is a little bit oriented less toward modern Western square dancing and more toward a lot of the traditional dances. Also line dances, children's dances, and DJing. And I think they're all important resources to bring to a party dance. A party dance shouldn't be similar to a first night of a class. A party dance is a thing unto itself. And I think we tend to underestimate it. I have about a half a dozen clients that I've had for 40 years that I've done annual dances for, and another half dozen that I've done for more than 30 years that I've done annual dances for. I tend to get rehired back, and the people want it as a regular part of their lives. So let me describe a couple of the dances that I do. Can I get, if I play a video, Dan, can I get that on the screen for the people? I can't hear you.
Yes, that problem. You can share, and when you share, there will be a checkbox that says share computer video. Share computer audio, and that should show it to all of us.
Okay, great. Okay, so the first square dance that I do is called Solomon Levi. Are any of you familiar with this? This is an old traditional dance. Sometime during the 90s, when I realized that festivals and hoedowns were tanking, I spent a lot of time doing research into one-night stands and how to improve the program. And I found this in an old session order, and it's a fabulous dance. You square them up. You don't have to worry about boy-girl positions. Tell them this is their home position. Bow to the partner, turn to the dancer that's closest to you. That's your partner. That's your corner. Bow to your corner. Join hands, circle to the left, circle to the right. Drop hands, face right. If you're looking at your partner's back, step to the inside of the circle next to your partner. So your shoulders make a straight line with your partner's shoulders. Take right hands with your partner's right hand. Under that, take left hands with your partner's left hand. It can be done. I've seen it done. Should look like the spokes of the wheel with one person on the inside, one person on the outside. This is promenade. When we say promenade, get into this position. Walk once around the square, face in, square your set. That's the break at the beginning of the end of the dance. This dance is an old traditional dance that kind of builds to a climax. It's kind of a perfect dance for a one-night stand, because you wind up with the dancers doing something that seems beyond their capabilities to do. Sometimes I will also do a grand square for a one-night stand, and I'll talk about that in a bit. And that's another one. Did you see what we just did? You know, that's one of the peak moments for people coming into a party dance or a one-night stand. Most of these people don't dance, and when they do something as fancy as this dance or a grand square or even a right and left grand, you know, it's a great sense of accomplishment for them that they can do that. Okay, so here's the figure for the dance. Couple number one, you identify the couples by numbers. Couple one turn back to back, separate around the outside track. They go all the way around the square, passing their partner twice by the right shoulders. And they pass the second time at home. Everybody bow to the corner, swing your partner, promenade back home. Repeat it for number two, repeat it for number three, repeat it for number four. Now you have what you know to do the dance. The dance will get slightly more complicated as we go through the dance. Pay attention to your numbers. Remember to pass right shoulders. So then you do the break. Couple 1, 2, 3, 4. Couples 1 and 3 separate around the outside track. Now instead of passing 2 people, they're passing 4 people on the way around the outside. Couples 2 and 4 separate around the outside track. Big finish. Couples 1, 2, 3, and 4 separate around the outside track. Now they're passing 8 people on their way around. You have the girls doing a promenade, single file promenade on the inside. The boys doing a wrong way single file promenade around the outside. And it's an adventure for these new dancers to do. They get back home, everybody bow to the corner, swing your partner promenade, and then you finish up with the closing break. So I think that's a great way to open the square dancing part. I frequently will open with a circle mixer. Well, let me show you the end of Solomon Levi. I have this. This is my oldest client. This is the San Francisco Girls Chorus. They perform internationally. They recorded. They perform with the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra regularly, and I've been calling for them since 1982.
You're not seeing your screen, Steve.
You getting it?
You're not screen sharing.
What do I need to do?
So down at the bottom of the screen there is a
screen?
Sorry, but down at the,
Here we go.
down at the bottom, there we go.
Beautiful.
And we're hearing snippets of, okay. And when you shared the screen, did you click share computer video? Because we're not hearing the video except through your microphone.
Oh.
You might need to unshare and reshare.
I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so if you stop screen sharing, and I can stop screen sharing for you if you'd like.
Okay.
So when you click share screen, it gives you the option of what screen to share or share a specific thing. Down on the bottom left of that dialog box, there's a little share sound.
Got it.
That's the button we want to get.
Circle right.
There we go.
Your partner. Promenade. Oh, Solomon Lee.
Well, let me get those
1, 2, 3, and 4. Separate around the outside track. Around the ring. Right shoulders coming back. Pass right by the partner. Down to the corner. Swing your partner. Promenade. Oh, Solomon Levi. Tra-la-la-la-la. Oh, Solomon Levi. Tra-la-la-la-la.
Okay, so you get the idea on that one. A lot of times I try to find the other screen here.
And if you'd like me to stop sharing for you, I can do that from here.
Well, I want to share another one in a moment.
Okay, awesome.
Am I not on my? I'm not seeing my regular screen. Here we go. All right.
We are seeing your regular screen.
Okay. What was I going to say? I forgot. Well, let me go back to sharing the other audio then. This is I know. I kept searching for a better record than Solomon Levi. The kids sing along with it, and it's kind of a sing-song song. So if you do it regularly for a group year after year, as I do, they'll get into the music. But I like to upgrade the music, and I will on the next one, the Patty Cake Polka. The problem with it is Solomon Levi is 48 beats rather than the standard 64 beats. And I was only able to find one other singing chord with 48 beats, and it wasn't suitable. It didn't time out well to this one. So I'm still looking for a 48 beat singing chord that I can substitute the song Solomon Levi for and get something a little more modern. Okay, this is Patty Cake Polka, which many of you may know. This is a easy circle mixer. Very often I use this as the first dance. As I tell the people, there's a little bit of fancy footwork. If feet don't obey your brain, fake that part, do the rest, just have a good time with the dance. The music for it was an old was on Windsor, was an old type of.
Heel in a toe slide, out slide.
So I substituted for that Chet Atkins, Barbershop Quartet. Barbershop Rag, rather. Okay.
Slide out, heel in a toe slide, in slide in, heel in a toe slide out. Right clap, clap, left clap, clap, both clap, clap, deep clap, clap. Hook right on this all the way around, on to the next you go. Heel, toe slide in, heel in a toe slide out, heel in a toe slide in, heel in a toe slide out. Hook right arms all the way around, on to the next you go. Heel, toe slide in.
Okay.
Toe slide out.
Okay, you get the idea. I'm having trouble transitioning from one screen to another here. I'm not getting everybody's picture on it.
Yeah, the things when you're not the controls when you're sharing are ridiculous for me to figure out. I always have trouble with this.
I'm glad you're doing it.
And I wanted to note, what was that, the Chet Atkins song you're using there? Although you're close enough to me that I've got to find my own music because I can't stomp on you.
Barbershop Rag.
Okay.
Barbershop Rag. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, when
it times out perfectly to it. Yeah.
Excellent. If you don't mind, when I post this, I would love to post links to all of the videos you're playing. Which
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so I'll also do, of course, from squares forward and back, dos a dos, goes to the opposite end to the corner. Right and left grand, which I always tell them is related to the maypole dance figure. I don't do an Alaman left, and for singing calls, I don't change partners. It just seems both seem more trouble to teach than is a payoff for the dancer as far as learning something good. I do teach the grand square for groups that I've done more than once, and sometimes for groups that are sharp, that I'm doing for the first time. The way I teach it for high success is I do the head couples by themselves 2 or 3 times, side couples by themselves 2 or 3 times, put them together, tell them I can no longer tell them whether to go forward or backwards. But by that point, it's pretty locked in and they can usually get it. And again, that's one of those moves that when they do, they go, oh my goodness, did you see what we just did? You know, it makes them feel great. Again, this is not, a party night is not a first night of class, and not plugging it into anybody else. Let me tell you a story that changed my perspective. As I said, in the 90s, I started doing a lot of research on one-night stands and how to improve the program. So one of my 40-year-plus clients is a 1,000-acre ranch and working farm and a tourist resort on the Eel River, about 2 hours northeast of me, east of Willits, called Emmendale. And I started there calling for their summer camp and also their family camps. And some of the family camps now I've done this is the third generation. So the original children are the parents of the younger kids now. So I've taught all 3 generations to dance. It's an annual event for them. The family camps are 2 or 3 dozen families from all over California who come to meet there once a year for a week and stay there for a week, work the farm, enjoy the farm, and this is usually their last night celebration. And, you know, after 20 or 30 years, they get to be pretty good at some of this stuff. We run teacup chain and all kinds of fancy moves with these people. The farmer there died young of cancer. Before he died, we had an interesting conversation that changed my perspectives on one-night stands, which I think among most callers are considered somewhat lesser than the club dancing. And I'm not sure this is true. I think at this point in square dance history, we might look to a return to those kind of party dances as being the future of square dancing. I'm not sure that we have another World War II generation that is eager to join bowling clubs, bowling alone. You're all familiar with that idea, I think. You know, I think that idea is now, those generations are past. We're seeing more people doing cocooning and so forth. So this is a nice antidote to that. And I think this may be where the future of square dancing lies. So I had a conversation with Clive. I was up there for a Friday night family dance. And I told him the next night I had a really big dance, really important dance. I was calling an A2 dance in Roseville. So I was getting to do my hotshot advanced stuff for all the top dancers in the Sacramento area. And Clive said, no, tonight's dance is more important than that dance. I said, why do you say that? You see, because those dancers, even if you call the best dance they've ever been to, it's still going to be one dance out of dozens that they're going to this year, and one dance out of hundreds or thousands that they've been to. You're not going to change anybody's mind about square dancing. You may give them something special, but you're not going to change their outlook on square dancing. The people tonight, this is almost certainly their only dance of the year, and for some of them, it's going to be the only dance they ever go to. So for the rest of their lives, if somebody says square dancing, the look on their face will be determined by what you give them tonight. This is a more significant dance. So I'm not into, I think it's futile to try to compare which is a more important dance, but Clive's points were important. The one-night stand dances are important. It's the way we present ourselves to most people, and we'll have the largest reflection of how they responded to the dance in real life. The club dances are ours, but the club dances will be shrinking, and I don't expect them to bounce back to the levels that they had before I got into the activity with my great sense of timing. Okay, let me talk about children's dances for a moment. Very often, if you're doing party dances, people will bring children to the dance. If there's a significant number of children at a dance, I always ask the people to devote the first 15 or 20 minutes to just children's dances, because they're going to get tired. We're going to lose them early. They're not going to be able to do the harder dances, but let's make sure that they feel included in our process. So I make dances for them. First dance is the Hokey Pokey. Get the Hokey Pokey by Ray McKinley. The singer on that is the singer on that is Joann Greer, who did the vocals for most of the Rita Hayworth movies. She's a good singer. If you have the original version, make sure you edit out the last part, which is put your backside in, put your backside out, because if you're calling for a school or a church, they're going to jump on you. And don't trust yourself to remember to stop before it gets to that. The second dance you want to do for the kids is the chicken dance. Cheep, 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 flap, 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 wiggle, 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 add a clap, clap, clap. There are some groups where even if there are kids there, the adults are going to feel insulted by doing these dances. Try to get a sense of that. If that's the case, you're going to have a more difficult time as the evening goes on anyway. But try to get a sense. If you want, you can ask the host or whoever hired you if it's okay to open for the kids with Hokey Pokey. Once you mention getting the kids involved, it's usually okay. And okay, then the next dance I do with the kids, and you can do this, I've taught with pre-K, which is four-year-olds. 4-year-olds can do this dance. It's the Mexican hat dance. And I do this also with adult dances. I just did this 2 weeks ago at a synagogue in Sonoma. And then the people there loved it. It's a very quick teach and it's a very quick dance. You guys know the dance? Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. And then your right arm turn, the left arm turn, and the right arm turn. I don't have a video of that. It's very easy. If you're doing that, there are 2 official Mexican hat dances. And if you look up Mexican music, you'll get some music for it. The easiest dance to do it, though, is the old pop version, the Mexican Hat Rock by the Applejacks. It's a very obvious beat, and people have no trouble keeping track of that. And it's a nice dance to do with them. And then for the little kids, I also do a modified Virginia reel. This is what I do. It doesn't matter who they're facing. If it's really little kids, they want to be facing their parent. Walk to the middle and back, do a 2-hand swing. First couple, sashay down, sashay back. The little kids love the sachets. Second couple, sashay down, sashay back. So you're doing 6 couples. Third couple. Fourth couple, sashay to the front and back. Fifth couple, sashay to the front and back. Sixth couple, sashay to the front and back. Break again. Walk to the middle and back, 2-hand swing. First 2 couples together, sashay to the end and back. Next 2 couples, sashay to the end and back. Last 2 couples, sashay to the front and back. Break again. Next 3 couples, sashay to the back. Last 3 couples, sashay to the front. And finally, all 6 couples, sashay to the back and sashay back. It's a rowdy dance, and the kids will crash into each other and they'll have a great time with it. So those are my children's dances. Those last about 15 or 20 minutes if you do all of them, and it makes them feel involved. And if you have a large dance with a large number of kids, the adults will appreciate it too, because you involve them.
Dan, can I record, please? Thanks.
Let me get you. And Steve, I had stopped your sharing so that we could see your face full screen. So share again as soon as I find you, or feel free to share, or please share again when you're ready to. Back to you, Steve.
Okay, line dancing. The line dancing is valuable in a lot of settings. Sometimes you'll have a very reluctant group, but you can usually get a few women up to do some line dances and then tell them, go back into the audience, get your partners out here for some square dancing and group dancing. So line dances are easy to, there are some that are easy. I know this is not going to appeal to all of you, and some of you feel like you can't do the line dancing, but let me show you. This is the easiest one and the most popular one in the world right now. And this is a group of professional women photographers at a camp that I did a few years ago. I'm not sure I can get it on YouTube. You get that?
Because I stopped sharing, you're going to need to share again. Sorry.
Can we get it from there?
What?
My website. I'm not seeing the option to put it on YouTube.
So you're seeing which?
Seeing the video from my website. Most of the other videos have the option to click it to YouTube, which I've been doing, but this one doesn't.
Let's see, steveminkin.com, and I'm looking on your website, and well, there's the Solomon Levi. So which one we're trying to do the line dance there? What is? I will hang on just a moment, and I will be able to pull this up on.
Yeah, on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah, I will find a way.
Then let me get it.
Okay. Cupid Shuffle. There's a source. Oh, come on.
Okay.
All right, so we still need the that as excuse me. We still need you to share unless I can find it faster, and then I will share. Crap. I am not finding a way to get to full screen from that.
So part of the gimmick of this, during the song, he goes to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right. The trick is to start on time, so they're actually doing those steps in sync with the music. I've had a lot of people tell me after doing this, it's the first time it's been in sync. So make sure the first step is on the count of 16. Okay, well, you get the idea. Very simple dance, 4 slides to the right, 4 slides to the left, kick right, left, and then in 4 steps, swivel 1 wall to the left. Very, very easy. The next dance I do is popcorn, and I do it to Boot Scootin' Boogie. Many years ago, I don't have a video of this, I wish I did. Popcorn was the first Moog synthesizer pop hit, 1967. And there was a very basic line dance to that. Right, left, right back, left back, right knee, left knee, right knee, left knee, clap, and turn a quarter to the right. And when I was working in the schools, one of the second grade teachers said, "Can you teach us Boot Scootin' Boogie?" Well, there are 6 kinds of Boot Scootin' Boogie, and they're all very hard. But I realized that popcorn fit it. So I used popcorn for that group, and I've been using it in party dances ever since. It's a great second dance. I wish I had a copy of us doing it, but I don't. The next one is the Hispanic line dance. It's called No Rompas Mi Corazon, which is the Mexican hit of Achy Breaky Heart. And that gives you a second dance immediately called Rapido. The variation of that is the same dance done about 3 times as fast. And the video that I have is of the San Francisco Girls Chorus. They've just done the regular version. And then I say, okay, we'll do the same footwork, but to a faster record and a faster timing on this one. And you'll see the look on their face when they realize how fast it is. It's a fun dance. Am I on?
Yeah, it's playing.
A long, deceptively slow introduction.
Just thinking about what the YouTube content monitor is going to do to this in terms of silencing out all the copyrighted music.
It's a simple dance, but this is quick. Okay, that's a rush. One move that I do sometimes in square dancing for beginner groups, other dances to supplement the group dancing. There's an old traditional move called whip and snort. The dance club I belong to is a senior citizen club called the Forestville Whip and Snorters. Average age was in the 80s. Unfortunately, they could never get Grand Square and Alamanthar together. So we kind of got caught in the loop there. We had to go to a different club to advance. But whip and snort is a fun move, and for kids love it if we're calling in schools. But it's also a fun dance if we have a youthful group. So whip and snort, the group is in a circle. Number one couple, if you say number one couple, whip and snort, number one, everybody's holding hands. Number one couple dives through couple number 3 and then separates and goes all the way back to their home, the girl going to the right, the boy going to the left. Couple number 3 does a dish rag turn, which is a California twirl all the way around so they finish facing in. And couple number 2, whip and snort, 3 whip and snort, 4 whip and snort, circle to the left. Best looking couple, whip and snort. Most intelligent couple, whip and snort. Most confused couple, swing your partner. Anyway, it's a fun move to use. Another one, and I do have a video for that from somebody else. This is a dance I learned. The first club that I called for was a club in Windsor, and the president of the club had a brother who was an old-time caller from Chicago, a principal in Chicago, who came out, and he said he would call a dance. And he did this one from a family of dances that were popular in the 30s and 40s, I think, called Forward, Six, and Back. I'm not sure if any of you remember these. But anyway, this is the basic dance. This is another guy doing it. And it's a good dance to do with a group that you've had a number of times. They need to be familiar with square dancing and movement.
Stop spending a fortune on dental visits and toothbrushes. This hands-free toothbrush is taking the world by storm.
Lead out to the right to couple number 2. Join hands with them. Circle left once around.
Couple number 1.
Jet number 2, keep both of those ladies.
Goes up 4, leaves his partner with the side boy, and goes on to couple number 3.
He's with you. Put them on each side of you. And jet number 1, go on by yourself to couple number 3. Circle up with them.
Circles 3 with couple 3.
You have time for a quick swing with lady number 3, jet number 1. A quick swing. Lead her on to couple number 4. Circle up 4.
Okay, so instead of doing the swing, I do a circle 3 with that couple. And then he steals that girl, goes on to the next side.
Jet number 4, keep them both.
That girl and goes back.
Jet number 1, come home alone. The lines of 3 at the side.
This is the setup. Okay. Now comes the dance. Forward, 6, and back.
Let's go forward and back.
Long gents do a do-si-do.
Gents 1 and 3, you're not going to be lonely long. After you've done it, you'll do a do-si-do, but you don't need to do that right now. You can sort of hold out your hands on either side and get ready to receive.
Okay, so here's the cool move. The side boys are going to roll the girls to the head boys. The right-hand lady high, the left-hand lady low. So the right hand is the over, the left hand is the under. The girls roll once to the furthest head boy. They're going to roll across. Now the head boys will have 2 girls each.
2 ladies. Gents 2 and 4, you're going to cross those ladies over with the right hand making an arch, left hand lady under, and go on to that nearest head gent, ladies, and make lines of 3 at the heads. Now you 6 people go forward and back. And the 2 gents have just done a beautiful do-si-do in the middle. Actually, the old-time dances I used to go to, they would frequently do an elbow swing or some other thing, so do whatever you want, guys. And then head gents, right hand high, left hand low. Send them on to the side gents again. Forward, 6 and back. Two gents do whatever. Right hand high and left hand low and on to the next end. Don't be slow. Forward 6 and a 6 follow back. Two gents go around that track with a right hand high and a left hand low. You should be about home, I think.
Okay. And what I learned from the guy in Chicago that's a little bit better is the last time, call it differently, right hand over, left hand under, here she comes now, swing like thunder. So because the last left-hand lady is not going to the other boy, the last left-hand lady is doing a half sachet to be at home. So.
Yeah, square your set. And that's all there is to it. Couples 2, 3, and 4, you have lots of time to watch. But just remember, out and left to your left hand, right to your partner, right and left grand, and the hand over hand, and the heel over heel, and the more you dance, and the better you feel, and swing your partner. You swing and go around and around you go. Now promenade on heel and toe, you promenade back home. Now the first old couple lead out to the right and circle up forward with all your might. Leave that lady right where she be, go on to the next in circle 3. Swing that lady, take her on to the last in circle 4, leave her there, go home alone. And now it's a forward up 6 and a 6 fall back, and the two gets do-si-do. With a right hand over, left hand under, on to the next, and you go like thunder. Forward 6 and a 6 fall back, two gets do-si-do. With a right hand high and a left hand low, and on to the next, and here we go. Go forward 6 and back, and the two gets do-si-do. Right hand high and left hand low, on to the next, and here you go. Go forward 6 and back, and the two gets do-si-do. Right hand high, left hand low. Alabama left your corner, your right hand to your partner. Grand old right and left go round the ring, hand over hand, and
Okay, so cool, interesting dance. And Bessie got it when she was talking, she mentioned the Oxo Contra, which I've also used. Again, these are for groups that you've done a lot of dances with and they need to see something new. These are dances that are not related to modern Western square dancing, that kind of events in themselves, which I think to a large extent is what you want to present to party dances. Let me say a word about DJing. Some of the dances that we do are themed for Western, and they specifically want Western music throughout the dance. So I keep up with that through YouTube. There are certain channels on YouTube that feature new Western music. It's not typically the kind of music I listen to on my own. I listen to more jazz and classical music and oldies. But I make it a point to do that because it's part of the program. Working in schools is a great way to keep up with the younger kids and how to do it. When my own children were a little bit younger, they would tell me some of the hot dances. But now they've reached the point where I can no longer count on them to be current. One of the dances I have each year, the swankiest dance I do each year is for Fritz and Beverly Maytag. So Fritz Maytag is the heir to the Maytag fortune and is the retired CEO and owner of Anchorstein Beer, which he rehabilitated from a failing San Francisco beer company to the first craft beer company. And he's considered the father of the craft beer industry. So I called for him in his summer home and his country home in St. Helena. He asked me after the first couple of dances, what's a good dance floor? I said, parquet floor is the best, but it's expensive. Then I realized I was talking to somebody that it wouldn't be expensive for. And the next year he has a parquet floor. We've had a parquet floor there for the last 35 years. So his dances are always themed. And his wife, Beverly, tells me several months in advance of the theme. One year he bought a Greek island, so he wanted only Greek music. Last year, for I think the third time, we featured Native American music and only Native American foods for the dinner, which he always has catered. So, having a DJ repertoire, I have a large repertoire as it is of my own CDs, my own music collection, but having that available to the people, if you come up with a request for you, having 80s music or whatever available for the group that you're calling for is always an asset. And very often these events are in conjunction with a silent auction or a dinner, and having the DJ resources comes in useful for that also. I may have covered what I want to, Don. You want to get out early, or have any questions?
This is awesome. I
get myself unmuted here.
Let me stop sharing so that you can see us again. No, not request remote control dance. Wrong button. There we go. Okay. Don, back to you. I've got a question or two from Mike.
We usually go into question and answer here. So that's great. And I'm sure we're going to have a bunch of conversations. So Dan, you said Mike's got something. Why don't we?
So in the direct messages here, Mike had a couple of questions. Specifically, I think that he has clients who are more who know about modern Western square dance music to begin with. But he said, I have a customer who specifically requested no circle mixers. Any comment on that and how you deal with that?
Yeah, you know, I've come across that only at hoedowns. When I've tried to do beginner hoedowns and occasionally put in a circle mixer, I'll have somebody complain about that. Some people don't like circle mixers. I don't know why. You know, try to be agreeable. See, you get a sense of whether it's worth it to buck that one person and go ahead and do what you wanted to do, or accommodate him and do it. So I don't know what to say. Some people don't like circle mixers. I've come across that myself.
He also asks about the Tooty Ta dance for young kids.
Which one?
Tooty Ta, which I don't know.
Tooty Ta. I didn't know how to spell it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mike.
Yeah, it's, I forget. Have you heard of the Tooty Ta? Do you use that?
No.
Okay. Someone may want to write that down. I think Clark's aware of it. It's good for younger kids. It's really something simple to do, like a hokey pokey type thing or whatever.
I'll check it out.
I forget who the author of that is, but it's available on a CD.
Okay. And then Mike's last question, which I can pop in and you can, is asking that most people expect square dancing, not other forms. How do you get past the expectation? And I got to say that the people who show up for my modern Western square dancing advertised events have no idea what they're showing up for.
Yeah. I tend to call them community dances rather than square dances, which just broadens the category. Dances done in a group. If they want your square dances, that's fine. You know, I can accommodate them to that. I will briefly try to talk them out of it. But, it's their party, so you know you got to provide their party.
Right. Thank you. I'll let Don talk in a moment, but I just wanted to mention that one of the things that I very much feel when in the group that I tried to start down here in Petaluma, and then of course COVID hit us, was that the product of modern Western square dancing is not viable long term, and I need to figure out something else that is like it, but because that's what I love, but different. And you're giving me great ideas. And thanks for teaching me how to square dance.
Mike?
You know, over the years, I've tried unsuccessfully to convince my clubs that the way to rejuvenate square dancing in Sonoma County is to go into the different communities once a year and put on a public dance. It tells me my battery's running low. I'm not plugged in. I'm not sure how much time I have here.
And I noticed Mike's hand is up again.
I got 8 minutes left into this unless I plug in. Should I plug in?
If you would please, we can probably get that much.
About a verbal vacation.
I would love to get that much more information out of you.
Okay, let me see. Let me throw up an extension cord. Hold on.
Okay. Don, you got something in the meantime?
Just to tell the others what you slipped in briefly here, but Dan learned to square dance originally from Steve. And that was sort of a happy coincidence here, rounding out the things. You got anything to add to that? But well, Mike, we see your hand up, but why don't we wait till Steve gets back so he can answer your question or comment on it or learn from it.
Yeah, Steve is a caller in my area, and he's got several clubs in the area and calls at various different levels a lot, which I am amazed that he is going at that, because if I get 3 nights a week, I start to wonder where the rest of my life went. So
I taught Dan Plus in one night. Dan was a quick learner.
yes, I remember that. We were running along, and we had 3 the attrition in our new dancer class was such that we had 3 dancers left in that class, a bunch of enthusiastic angels, so it was still great. But they said, why don't we just pull you up to plus so you can dance with the class in front of you? And yeah, I remember it as roughly 2 nights, but it went really, really quickly.
One night we did almost all of them.
Welcome back, Steve. You plugged in.
Dan's story reminds me, a few years ago, I think it was my last flat tire. And this guy stopped to pick me up. He said, "You're the caller from Santa Rosa, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I danced with you years ago." He said, "I showed up at a beginner class and wanted to dance. You were in the middle of plus. And you said I couldn't dance because I had missed the first 100 moves. And I said, I'll learn them by next week. And you can test me on them. And if I do it, you can let me in." And he said that he did learn, that I did let him in the class. I have no recollection of this, and it seemed like I would. But anyway, he helped me with the flat tire, so I was appreciative.
So, Mike, Steve is back. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering how you get people on the floor initially. I use the Grand March myself. I find that they will get up quicker that way, and then I can just dance them into pairs or whatever I want to do with them. But I wonder how you get them on the floor. There's generally reluctant people that just want to watch.
Yeah. In general, usually I have enough dancers who are really into dancing that they get up. If there's a reluctant crowd, usually my go-to strategy is to get a number of women up for a line dance or 2, and then tell the women to go into the crowds and get the guys and bring them back out on the dance floor. And then I reinforce that by saying, if we're only going to do one dance tonight, do this one. And that's usually the pat a cake polka or a circle mixer or Solomon Levi. And hopefully after that, they'll feel more comfortable out there. So that's my strategy with a real reluctant group, is get the girls up who want to do the line dancing and then have them go fish the boys out. But as I say, most of the groups that I call for, they were eager to dance. Fritz and Beverly Maytag Fritz likes to square dancing because when he was a kid, they used to vacation in Colorado, and the big events were the weekend dances in the big hotels. And Fritz and Beverly used to do the Varsuvian, put your little foot, put your little foot, put your little foot right here. And I would take one of the gals out of the audience, and the 2 couples would dance, and then we'd get everybody up for the Hokey Pokey or the chicken dance. In recent years, they've gotten a little too old to do that, so we start with the Hokey Pokey and the chicken dance. Those are non-threatening. So if you have a group that looks like they're a little threatened, that's one way to do it. Although, as I say, the Hokey Pokey for some people is, too day class A for them to participate in. So,
yeah, I have definitely seen a group in which 99% were up and doing the Hokey Pokey, and there are a few people who are just totally not there.
I've got an anecdote about the chicken dance. I'll get to you in a second, Bill, but I was on a cruise, the only one I've been on, and Daryl Clendenin was the organizer of it with the square dance cruise. Daryl's frequently with us, but not today. And the band on the open deck at one point, not square dance related at all, started playing the chicken dance. And so all the square dancers got up and started doing the chicken dance. And then many of the non-square dancers saw that, and they just got up and joined in with them. And yeah, it's something that picks up easily for the beginners. Bill, your hand's up.
Yes, it is. Steve, although my marquee down here says I'm Oklahoma, I lived in Sacramento for.
Remember you? Yes, yeah, Roseville.
I don't believe you and I ever really crossed paths, did we?
I think we met a couple of times at the dances at Roseville.
Yes, at Rare Park. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, exactly. But I'm enjoying immensely what you were saying, because one thing you mentioned, which I totally agree about, is to get out into the public and show the dancing, get audience participation. Back in the day when we had our classes from September to June, and then start another class in September, all summer, I don't know about your area, all summer our clubs would go like gangbusters, dancing any place they could. And then when classes started, they were like an ostrich. They put their head in the sand and didn't do anything until the next summer. And I thought that we should get out more often, all along. So I'm appreciative of what you said about that, and totally agree.
Yeah. This year, for the first time, we did it a lot when I was beginning square dancing. We had exhibitions at the Sonoma County Fair, and then it was cut off. They phased us out gradually. They took away our parking tickets. They took away our admission tickets 1 year at a time. Right? The final store was they had me parking in lot G or something. So I had a bunch. These were the days we still used records. So we were carrying all of these boxes about a mile from the far parking lot to where we were dancing. And this is but anyway, we were back in the Sonoma County Fair this year, and we wound up getting, I think, 3 couples out of it for the beginner class. So
for years,
yeah.
For years, the local clubs in Sacramento, and we go out to Cal Expo, and we dance at Cal Expo for 5 consecutive nights. And every club went out to the fair on their club night. So there was always, we had sometimes 10 to 12 squares out there, and then they would do at least 1, if not 2, audience participation activities. That's what got me into dancing, was the summer of '77. And then I took classes from there. So, but then they like you say, they gradually phased us out, put us in lousy locations, and then finally it went poof. And that was about the time, at least my recollection about it, that was about the time that square population of dancers started to drop, because we didn't have that big show at Cal Expo. That was our biggie. Oh, where's my hand up for? Oh, that's not my hand. That's Florence. Anyway, I thank you for everything you said. I'm now a resident of Oklahoma, and I'm no longer calling.
Okay.
I had an accident, and I broke my ankle, and it just went downhill. So I'm retired from it, but I still like to keep involved this way. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, sir.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Good seeing you again.
Steve, your hand's up.
Yes, first off, Steve, great name. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Being from Texas, one of the things we do to get people involved and come out and dance is Cotton Eye Joe and Schottische. Cotton Eye Joe's the national dance of Texas. So
I do that. I've used that in the schools consistently. Yes. There were a lot of versions of that dance. In fact, I was reluctant to do that Swedish pop version of Cotton Eye Joe, but I had that at my last, it was a Christmas dance for church youth. Boy, one of the gals did this fabulous line dance to it, was spinning and everything I'd never seen before. I got to learn to do that one. It was terrific. Cotton Eye Joe that I do is a 2-couple dance, right? 1 couple in the lead and 1 couple behind, and the couple in the lead circles away and goes behind. Is that the one that you use?
That's called wagon train or whatever, where they make the box.
Yes.
You have 1 in the lead and circle back. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a stagecoach or wagon.
The one that you do is a 1-couple dance?
We just do line dances.
Oh.
Do it as a line dance.
I see.
But that's the wagon train version that can be done too. And then of course the Schottische afterwards. It's almost hand in hand.
Yeah. I love that music. I love the early Western swing that includes the Schottisches. Yeah.
Would one of you spell Schottisch so that I can search for it?
SCH.
OTTISHE.
I can't remember. I've got it somewhere.
There we go. Got it. Okay. Cool.
It's
Thank
a
you.
simple dance.
Czechoslovakian or Hungarian.
Yeah.
Slavic dance.
Bohemia somewhere. Yes.
Yes.
It was a good version of it was done by Al Dean and the Texas All-Stars. He did both Cotton Eye Joe and Schottische.
Trying to raise my hand here and I can't find the thing to do that. That's pretty weird. So my hand's up after Clark, but go ahead, Clark, talk for a while.
First off, good to see you, Steve. We haven't chatted in a long time.
Yes, yeah, I haven't been to Colorado in ages. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Or committee chairs or vice chairs or any of that junk. So you didn't comment on this much, and you may do this completely by instinct and with all the experience you have. But at the one-time party dances, the language and words you use to instruct people are very, very important. And a great example of that you used right off the bat with how you get people to promenade on the Solomon and Levi dance. And I'm sure you have excellent words for how you teach each of the things you need to teach, which have good success and not a lot of talking. So I just wanted to remind people of that you could see someone else try to do the same magic show that Steve can put on and just fumble it just because of the language. And that comes from experience and imitating other people. The other point I wanted to make, surprisingly, I also do one-time party dances. And I say that because those of us involved in advanced and challenge calling, etc., why would we have any interest in the one-time party dances? And maybe it's simply that you get up through C4 and you wrap around and start over again. I don't know. I don't do any singing or singing calls, well, ever, but certainly not at my party dances. And that's one of the reasons I probably don't call plus, is because I think they expect and deserve the singing calls. But I can do party dances, feel like I'm not shortchanging the customers, and entertain them with the stuff I do. I love the Solomon and Levi dance and find that successful. And it has that unexpected final step of everyone turn back to back and go around, or couples 1, 2, 3, and 4, or I might number them couples 3, 1, 4, and 2, and make them think and, and go around the outside. And no one, even if you saw the progression, people who haven't seen the dance before, no one expects that final step. And I think that's great. I would like to say that the one other dance I've picked up over the years that has always been a winner, and I enjoy doing, I put it in the chat, and if you'll humor me for a minute, I'm happy to show it. It goes by several names, either the All-American Promenade, the Pan-European Promenade, etc. And you start in a circle of couples. If you have gendered people, boys on the inside holding a girl's hand who's on the outside, you just promenade with a handhold. You'll see some people doing it in a Varsuvian handhold, and you're going to walk 3 steps in promenade direction and all turn around, walk backwards 3 steps, and that's an unusual thing for people's body to do, and it will take a couple of times to practice that. So forward 3 steps, turn around, back up 3 steps, and then I usually jump in place. We're going to reverse. You're just now going to go back the way you came. Forward 3 steps, turn around, back up 3 steps. That's half the dance, and no one's gone anywhere. At this point, you're going to be a little far apart from each other. So you're going to do a 2-footed jump together and jump apart, and then roll the girl across, and then jump together and jump apart, and then twirl the girl under as the guy walks forward on a slight diagonal. That's the progression. And the jumps work well. The twirl the girl under at the very end and the progression always has a little bit of fighting on how to do that. And then you start walking forward, etc. So, and the music for it, I saw some people use Cotton Eye Joe. You can search for All American Promenade and see a bunch of videos, but a piece of music, I don't know how to pronounce it, T-Smidgy. I think in English it's called The Blacksmith, and the name of the group is in the link I had. They have really exciting music, and I really enjoy doing it to that. So if you'll humor me for a second, let me just see if I can put this on and play. Let me do share sound, please. There we go. Here we go. Long intro to this. Long intro. So I find that one very successful.
Very nice. Yeah, lively.
I love the energy.
Good music. People like it. You're exhausted by the end of it. I often end certain dances or sessions and just jump in and dance along with it if I can. And kids like it, adults like it, etc. So I put a link to it in the thing. Good job.
Very nice.
Let me do our usual on the hour thing. And then actually I'm going to lead off with a comment and a question for you, Steve. But since we usually make it officially at the end of the hour, I want to thank you guys for coming. I want to remind you, if you want to be reminded of the next one, which will hopefully be within the next 2 or 3 weeks, drop me an email and I'll do the usual posting here also. I especially want to thank Steve for taking the time to do this, and let's give Steve a good hand for
my pleasure
for the presentation. Hopefully you guys get some ideas from this. And if you want to hang around and do some more questions and comments and such, that's what we usually do. And I'm going to lead that off with a couple of comments for you, Steve, if you don't mind. Well, one of them is when I don't do Virginia Reel very often, but there's a certain group I used to do it with. And I do a little ad lib calling, you know, I'll go in forward with a right hand turn, come back with a left and go forward again with a left hand turn. And then maybe the next time I'll do a right elbow turn. Oh, and then I'll do both hand turn. Then next time I'll do right elbow and then a left elbow. And what I like to throw in is use both elbows, which is physically pretty impossible, but it really gets a good laugh out of them when they're expecting to be a dance. It breaks up the flow, but it gets a smile on their face.
Yes, yeah.
So you might want to play with that sometime.
Yeah, and I do something similar with the Hokey Pokey. Right clap, clap, left clap, clap, both clap, clap, knees clap, clap. And they always look at each other. Well, whose knees, right? Like, oh, your own knees with your own hands. But I'm always curious to see what people do in the absence of further instruction.
Yes, I've seen that with the embarrassed look on people's faces.
For the Virginia Reel, especially if there's kids, I won't have boys on one side, girls on the other, whoever you want to pair up with. And for a simplified version, I'll have them turn the person in their own line rather than the person on the other line. It's a simpler figure. And if you don't have the boys on one side and the girls on the other, it hardly matters. So if you have a traditional group with mostly couples, you know, you want to do it the traditional way. But if it's a mixed group with a bunch of kids and so forth, have them turn the person on their own side. It's easier to work with.
The group that I used to work with that insisted on this at least once a night and danced 2 or 3 times a year, they got into, let's see how far we can shuffle down. And, you know, they'd go running and halfway up the wall on the other side and then come running back. Great energy in there.
Most spectacular Virginia wheels I've ever done. One of my all-time favorite clubs that I called for was a group called the Young Rebels of Oakland. And they did clogging as well as square dancing. They did 6 tours of Europe through Reader's Digest and the Romanian, who was the Romanian? Ceausescu. They fought for Ceausescu every time they went to Europe. Anyway, when they did the Virginia Reel, maybe once a month, once every other month, they would have everybody there. So we'd be doing 20, 25 couples for the Virginia Reel. It would take the better part of an hour to do it. But the kids would love it because, you know, they go, when they got to do down the middle, you know, they'd be clocking as they did it and sped through. It was fabulous.
Wow. So the question I have for you, you said something near the beginning and also in the email communications we have, it's totally different from what I do on party nights. And I've got to admit, you're much more successful at them than I am. But when I'm doing a teen or adult group, not the preschoolers and such, I make it very much like the first night of class. And there are 2 reasons. One is I want my first night of class to be a party and people want to come back. But the main reason is I'm hoping people will get interested in Western dancing. And I want to give them, I think I've got enough material that's simple enough for party nights, like very few calls and lots of variations on it. But I want them to have the look and feel of what we Western callers enjoy about square dancing, and maybe hopefully get people to say, gee, this is fun. Where can I learn more of it?
Have you had success with that? Because for the first 10 years that I did party nights, I made it a point every night to announce on the microphone where the next beginner classes were going to be. If you're interested, come and talk with me. And I had virtually no response to any of that. In fact, when people came up to me, when I stopped saying it, and people came up to me after the dance and wanted to know where they could do more square dancing, they weren't interested in what I was describing for club nights. They were interested in going to another dance like they had just experienced. So, you know, I have a sense of obligation to the activity. I did it religiously for the first 10 years to promote it, but it just seemed to be a blank wall. This wasn't what the people were interested in. So have you had success with that, Don, of recruiting people to understand?
Typically, I think I don't really push that there's another class coming or that kind of thing, but I just give them the look and feel of, and partly because I'm, as much as I love traditional dancing and contra dancing, I don't like calling it. I'm not that into that kind of a calling the traditional squares. So I do a lot of, you know, the look and feel of what we do. Clark many years ago talked about double filtering. And maybe we should get you to put a talk on the approach on that and what it goes with. But that's saying that if some people like the more puzzle solving to music and singing calls versus the more energy of the patty cake polka and chicken dance and all that other stuff, if they like one and then you bring them to a class of the other, you're not going to get the thing they want, because you filtered out the ones that want the puzzle solving with the first thing, and then you're filtering out the second group that came because they don't get what they were excited about. Whereas if you do what they you know, if you're hoping they're going to be heading for a class, just subliminally get them into this is what square dancing is. Show them the feel of that right away from the beginning. And every time I find a new figure that I can do with just the few things I've taught them, I get very excited. And one of the things I do is I don't teach couple numbers, just heads and sides, because most of the stuff I do is symmetric, and I don't want to clog their heads with the numbers also. I just stick with the heads and sides, and that's, you know, one less thing to teach. But again, you've been phenomenally successful with your party nights. I have had a few groups in the past that, you know, teen groups in different areas where, you know, I've gone for six years in a row. I remember one group where I had taught them Amos Moses, I guess, line dance, which wasn't my kind of thing, but it was so popular at the time that the third year I went there, one of the kids comes up to me at the beginning. He says, "In case you forgot your record, I brought mine," because we still do.
Yeah.
Any other comments?
I do singing calls, and I do, you know, with a group that's moving along, I'll do the ladies' chains, you know, and for the last figure in the ladies' chain in a singing call, I'll do it twice as fast. Head ladies' chain, side ladies' chain, head ladies' chain.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not back home, you should be home. Get home, you know, swing your partner, promenade home. So they do get a feel of what goes on the first night of square dance class, at least by the end of the evening. But as I say, I think it's best to think of these things as an event in themselves, rather than as a ramp, as an on-ramp.
I'm learning that from what you're saying. It really sounds good. Actually, but when I do singing calls, from the very first singing call, I rotate partners. I make it easy enough so they can't help but get it right. And I will say, you know, when eventually at the end, it's going to be like what we've just been doing, but you're going to swing your corner and bring her back home. And the next time, swing another corner. And the second and the last time, if you're lucky or unlucky as the case may be, you're going to bring your original partner back home.
Yeah.
And then after the dance, I just say, you know, how many got your original partner back? And they're all, yay. It's, you know, the feeling of doing a grand spare correctly. But, you know, doing the choreography that's simple enough so they do get to dance with other people and get the reward of rotating through.
Yeah.
But I know I've heard of many people that agree with you of not rotating too.
I don't teach rotations in a singing call until maybe a month into the class. The first several weeks, I haven't stayed with that partners. Yeah. And I don't do an hour man left either. Hour man left, I'll do maybe third night of class.
Wow. I wish I had the ability to keep away from that.
You just face the partner and do a right or left grand. The hour man left is extraneous.
The one of the things that a lot of people do and I don't, and if you want, I can go into reasons why not. With right-hand stars and left-hand stars, I find it that it's easier to avoid them. Unlike Clark, you and I do singing calls though. Picking on you, Clark.
I use stars sometimes. Yeah. Somebody was reminding me my Thursday night club dance. Somebody was reminding me of Star the Roots. I've done in 20 years. I got to do that.
Two Saturdays ago, I had a Saturday night dance, and it was a floor that was a dance that was advertised as a newer dance.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, it was a couple of newer dancers and a bunch of challenge dancers. And I did stars because nobody knew them.
Yeah. One of the first beginner hoedowns I went to, we were in a square with two visitors from DC who were C4 dancers. And of course, they did everything at the beginner dance except Grand Square, which they hadn't done in so many years they couldn't remember how to do it. Yeah. I should mention, I'm from New York City. My wife tried to drag me into square dancing. She's from rural Michigan and has danced barn dancers all of her life. So she said, well, go with this once with me. If you don't like it, I won't ask you again, which was enough of a nice offer. We were dating at the time. I didn't want to disappoint her, so I went. I was hooked right away. But I think what really got me was sometime in beginner class, the move all eight circulate. I'm a former tournament chess player. And with that move, I realized that the elegance in modern square dance choreography is similar to the elegance in square dance moves. So at that point, that was the point that I really threw myself into the activity.
You mean in chess moves?
Yeah.
Who was your caller in New York?
There was no caller in New York. I learned it was just in California.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Steve, where you're originally from. I thought I heard a little bit of New York in there.
Brooklyn and the Bronx. But I left New York in 65, a long time ago.
My hometown. I was born in Manhattan, but
Really? Yeah.
but and we moved, I think, 13 times before I moved out of the city, out of the state at the age 3.5. So I don't remember that much. Mike, you've got your hand up. Talk to us.
Steve, I was wondering if you use trios at all in your one night stands. Trios.
I don't think so. A three-person dance?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the idea.
It would be similar to like a Sicilian circle in general, spokes of a wheel. You could have all of the groups of three instead of groups of, or paired up as threes rather than twos. And you could be facing all the same direction, or they could be facing each other. And you could do various things with that. Right hand stars, left hand stars.
Huh.
The center person is the wild turkey, and they advance to the next trio, that sort of thing. Walk 16 beats, you know, make a right hand star, make a left hand star.
I haven't seen it, Mike. I'll look into it.
I get last after walking 10 steps instead of 16, because that's not as high as I can count. Never mind.
I have done the Varsuvian with three, though. It's tricky. When they roll across, it's tricky.
I use the trios because I find it's not necessary to have pairs. I mean, you know, I could have 3 men in one trio or 3 women in one trio, or two. It's either going to be 2 men and 1 woman, or 2 women and 1 man. So it doesn't matter the imbalance of the sexes in the group when you use trios.
What can you do besides stars?
You can do figure eights. The center person does a figure 8 around the outside 2.
I see.
And then advances to the next trio ahead. You could do, if the trios were facing, you could do as a threesome, do a do-si-do. Or you could do like a choo-choo train. The 3 of them hang on to hands and go around the outside. They're facing to start with, 3 facing 3. The outside person leads his other 2 people that's in his line around the outside of the couple that they're facing, and goes back to place, and then the opposite trio leads theirs around. Trying to think of what song I do that to. It's one of the train songs. And it's got the choo-choo train toot toot in the middle of it. It's kind of cute.
Check it out.
I could see you doing the right one high and the left one low to take the 3 and change the directions and go the other direction.
You could, with the trios, you could do go forward and back, dip and dive kind of a thing, or pass through, move on to the next, that sort of thing.
When you were talking about doing threes, I was thinking of Ted Sanella's Triplets, where he used to do a lot of stuff with 3 couples, and has written a book about it, I think. Ted Sanella was a very, if you haven't heard of him, very popular contra dance caller and traditional dance caller in the New England area. And I just did a quick search in Google for Ted Sanella Triplets, and several of them showed up. I was just going to post a link of Bob Riggs doing one. Or do you want me to share a screen so you can see some stuff with that?
Sure.
Nobody. Let me see if I can go back and find it. Where did it go? Let me open Safari, new page.
Don is fumbling with that. I have on a couple of evenings with traditional square dance callers, Evie Layden and then somebody else at the Petaluma Barn one night, done a thing where we were three couples in a figure, and then there was a break where it was take two people or break into groups of three and find another three, and so that kind of shuffled everybody through them. And I can't for the life of me remember what that is, and now I need to go back and do some of those and take notes this time when I go to those dances. Back to you.
I've got Bob's thing queued up if I can remember how to share screen here and see if you're allowing me to. I think you are. So move that where I can see it better. And
So the bad news here is that you shared this without clicking share computer audio, which means that it's all garbled and processed through your microphone. The good news is that YouTube won't therefore cut the audio out of this section.
So
if you want to send me a link, I will have a huge long list of resources attached to this video.
okay, I'm totally lost now. Let me stop sharing, I guess is the first thing to do here. Stop sharing. Let me go back to Safari and copy the link. And I guess we can quit out of Safari, over to message chat. So I just pasted the link for that into the chat. But if Clark, do you know, didn't Ted write a book about triplets? A whole variety of them? I know a lot of them.
Certainly a bunch of them. I used to have on a business card, each time I danced a Ted's triplet, I'd keep track. So I used to be able to tell you what, collect them all kind of thing. Ted's triplet number 3, the dip and dive one, is definitely a winner. And one of the traditions is when it was announced, we're about to do Ted's triplet number 7, the entire floor would cheer, whether they remembered or not, because it's silly to cheer for, numbered dances that who even knows what the numbers mean. But yeah, I always looked forward to doing them.
Yeah, and they were very clever and danced nicely.
Yeah.
Again, if you just go to YouTube and do Ted Sanella, go to this one to get the spelling. I didn't have the spelling, but Google nicely corrected it for me. And just do Ted Sanella triplets, and I'm sure you'll come up with a whole bunch of them. But I'm pretty sure he's got a book up someplace where he's had Ted unfortunately passed away in 20 years already. I don't know how long. Ted holds a warm spot in my heart because it was at one of his dances that I met a woman that I've been married to for 36 years. Any other? Oh, I'm sorry, Mike, your hand's up. Go for it.
Well, you finally found the talkative me. All this time I just sit back and watch. I was wondering if anybody had any suggestions, Steve, our leader here, in particular for a St. Patrick's Day one-night stand. I have one coming up on the 17th.
Oh,
That's a good date to have it.
well, for a singing call, maybe you want to do McNamara's band? And there's a whole bunch of Bing Crosby records that'll work for that. Turalura Lura, Turalura Live. I would get a nice little DJ collection of Irish music. The Three Irish Tenors is a great album with some good resources on it. Anad, Irish Rovers. I have good background music going all the time, and there's some Irish reels that are patter records. I use one. Can't think of the name right now, but if you give me a second.
Any particular actual dances also?
The only one that I would do, I haven't done it in so many years, I'm reluctant to recommend it, but Slouch to Donegal, do you know that? The contra dance? Yeah, I would do that.
Yes, I have that one, yeah.
That's I'm finding that hard now for plus dancers with no experience in contra dancing. So I would be reluctant to drag that. I wouldn't dream of doing it in a one-night stand. Unless it was, the 10th year or 15th year. They had already had right enough fees and ladies' chains and so forth. The diagonal right and left through followed by the straight across right and left through is confusing for a lot of dancers, but that's the only one that's coming to mind right now. Yeah.
You aren't going to teach them step dancing that night?
I'd have to learn it myself first.
Oh, you got plenty of time. What? Today's only the, I don't know what today is. I can't read here. 11th. You got a week.
That's river dance.
I can actually top that. I got a phone call that for the first time I'll be doing one tonight with no.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to be prepping today.
What kind of dance? For what kind?
I'm going to be looking at it's like kids and adults who's never danced before. So I'll be doing things like Virginia Reel and the patty cake polka, but of course I wasn't recording back then, so I'm going to have to YouTube it.
Very good. Well, good luck.
Dan's recording will get up pretty soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I don't know about this afternoon, but
That's what I'm saying. Yes. I mean,
Another dance kids love, chaotic dance, is a freeze dance. Just put on some lively rock and roll record, play the record. When they tell them when the music stops, they need to freeze wherever they are.
Oh.
And then start up the record again and then stop it and they freeze. We Will Rock You by Queen is a really good one to do on that because there has some.
Well, I'm actually going to have live musicians.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Well, good. That often helps. Not always, but often. Yeah. I've worked with bands over the years. I've had one band that was exceptional enough that they could actually do all the stuff that I wanted them to do.
Wow.
It's rare. The band I'm working with now, they'll do the Virginia Reel with me. The last time I tried to do the patty cake polka with them, it wasn't phrased right. So I'm back to using records with that one. So it's, good luck. Sometimes it's a good fit and sometimes it's not. But, if for Virginia Reel, something like Ragtime Annie or.
Does anybody have the instructions?
Whiskey Before Breakfast. Those are two good ones for Virginia Reel. Sorry.
Does anybody have the instructions written out that they could email them to me?
For the Virginia Reel? For Virginia Reel?
Instructions for?
Yeah. It's for the really basic, like the patty cake polka and the Virginia Reel and stuff.
I probably can do it. I may have them somewhere. Yeah. If not, I can work them up and get them to you. Yeah.
I can send it to you, Yolanda.
Okay.
And I'll see if I can find real fast, but if you don't have Dancing for Busy People, Cal Campbell put that on archive.org shortly before he died. He made all of his things public domain, and I'll see if I can find that because that has instructions in it. Although, reading that large, but I thought he did. I'm having trouble finding it, but
the Ted's triplets or triples or whatever. There's a dance weekend, the Ralph Page Legacy Dance Weekend, that's happened many years, and they make a list of what dances were done and actually show you the dances, and all of those the documentation of each of the weekends that's happened has been preserved. And I put a pointer to that webpage. And if you look how many times, you know, Ted's triples were done, you can then see which years they were done, go to that page in the archive, and the dance will be written out. So I put that in. The main link will start getting you to all the rest. There's an infinite amount of stuff to look at from there. I'm going to have to go away. Thank you. This has been good. It's snowing out. I have things to do before the snow gets worse. Is it snowing where you are, Don?
No. Maybe saw a few flakes before the drizzle started. It was a very light rain, but we're down south here.
Yeah, it's snowing here. Not collecting on the ground yet, but I want to go get my Taco Bell first.
Mike, we're up north, but for Clark, we're down south in a couple hours. Steve, once again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And again, I want to get you on for talking about Bill Peters at some time in the not too distant future, if you're willing to put up with all these strange people talking to you.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. Great. Dan, get rid of that cough. Boy, you still got it.
Seriously.
My wife's had it for about 3 weeks.
That's
Trying to get better.
Yeah. Well, it's weird. This one had a kind of a cold arc to it, but I never had a fever, so I'm suspect it may just be allergies, especially given as wet winters we've had here. So
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Hey, the acacias are out.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
I always learn things from you when I dance to you, especially when I dance to you on party nights. So yeah, thank you.
And Yolanda, good luck with your event this evening.
Yes.
And forward to hearing the results. I'm sure you will let us know somehow.
And this is still being recorded.
This is still being recorded. If you'd like me to stop, I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because it's off. It's off
Well,
subject.
Okay, we'll call the the end of the recording.
Okay.
We are